Going live. Hello and welcome to the Full Pour. This is our holiday edition, our 4th of July holiday edition here on Thirsty Thursday. We are so excited to have you joining us. I'm Erin James. I'm the editor-in-chief for Sip Magazine, and I have a stacked crew of super talented drinks pros on with us today, and I am so excited to have them showcase their products, showcase their bar in one case, and talk about what they're doing to celebrate the 4th of July or summer drinking. And we are focusing on pre-batched and large-scale cocktails for the 4th of July, large crowd, small crowd. What's awesome about making pre-batched cocktails is that you can make them and it could last you throughout the weekend, especially if citrus is involved. It'll preserve it in your fridge and everything's nice and handy. Some of these cocktails are super strong. Some of them are a little bit easier to down a couple in one sitting. Just picking your poison, choosing your game and how you play. But we are excited to introduce you to these recipes if you haven't ever had them before. We got a couple classics and then a couple newbies. So first up, we have Alfred from Navy Strength here in Seattle. I'm going to bring Chris on here. Hi, Chris. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me.
I'm really excited to have you on here. I'm a big fan, and I am also in Seattle, and I so miss my bars. And so this was really important to us to have a Seattle bartender on, a Seattle bar owner, Seattle bar, just to be talking about what you guys are doing during these bizarre times, and then also showcase one of your recipes, which the two come together quite well because you do to-go cocktail kits. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so that was kind of our thing that we dreamed up in the beginning of this nightmare, was a way to kind of like keep the bar afloat, but also just to raise some money for our staff too. So we created these cocktail kits, which we do with and without alcohol. So a cocktail kit makes about 10 drinks, and it kind of enables us to equip our community to go home and shake some of our drinks up in the comfort of their own kitchen or balcony. So yeah, it's been really successful and it's been really fun, and it's allowed us to kind of like stay in the neighborhood and seeing the same people every day and stuff, and it's been really nice.
And you do a variety of cocktails. We see a couple of them sitting up there to go. And does those change every weekend?
We change them. The list changes every week. Yeah, There's a few that if we take them away, people will send us angry Instagram messages. So, but for the most part, we rotate them every week, and yeah, it's a good way to like kind of stay creative. And we even launched our new cocktail menu through these kits. So we've never made our new cocktail menu in-house and served them to someone in-house, but they have been made many times over in other people's kitchens, which is kind of fun and weird.
Yeah, it's a different world we live in these days, huh?
Yeah.
So you have a pretty classic cocktail that you're making today, but it's also a Navy Strength version of it, right?
Yeah, we're doing the zombie, which is certainly like one of the most notorious classic tropical drinks. This version is from 1934, and it has some pretty like straightforward ingredients in it, kind of like many drinks in the tropical canon. It has rum in it, it has fresh lime juice in it, and it has Angostura bitters in it. But beyond that, we get to be a little bit creative with it because it has a trio of syrups in it, which we all make in-house. So there's a cinnamon syrup in it that's really tasty. There's a grenadine or pomegranate syrup that's in it. And then there's Falernum, which is a Caribbean ingredient that's flavored with almond, ginger, clove, and lime peel. And it's like one of those ingredients that you don't understand how well those flavors work together until you have a cocktail with Falernum in it. And it's just an incredible product. So
where could people buy Falernum? And just at a regular old liquor store?
Yeah, you could buy, there's one brand that's on the market that's pretty ubiquitous called John D. Taylor Velvet Falernum. We actually make our Falernum in-house because Velvet Falernum has alcohol in it. It's rum-based. But for us, we make so many non-alcoholic drinks for people who can't consume alcohol in the bar that we make a Falernum from scratch that just uses all 4 of those ingredients into a syrup. So you can make it pretty easily your own way. And if people reached out to us on Instagram, I'm very transparent with our recipe, and it's impossibly easy to make.
So are you going to make that for us here today, or are we going to pack up in a bottle and pour it?
We're gonna, so I mean, I do have the syrups and I could do it a la minute, but since we're doing cocktail kits and talking about batching for 4th of July, I thought it would be fun to make one from one of our kits just to show you how easy it is. So in our kits, we have our fresh lime juice, those 3 syrups, and then Angostura bitters and a little tiny bit of absinthe, which are kind of the backbone of the zombie. They're ingredients that if you took the absinthe and Angostura bitters away, it would probably still be a tasty drink, but it would kind of be like if you took the, took the cumin out of your like taco seasoning or something like that. It's just going to be using that like perfect level there. So the mixes make it really easy. There's no alcohol in this one, but we're going to do 1 3/4 ounces of the mix. So that has citrus and sweetener in it. A little like word of advice when you're making drinks in larger batches at home, the 2 ingredients or types of ingredients that tend to blow up or get magnified in a batch are citrus acid and bitters. So we always do what's called walking up when we make a really large batch. Like for example, if you came in and got a tiki bowl from us, we would start with a little bit less citrus and then walk it up kind of like to taste to get it to where it needs to be.
I love that. That's great advice.
Little pro tip. We're going to use rum. You want to use dark rum for a zombie, and dark rum is obviously a pretty ubiquitous category. It can mean many things. It often means barrel aged. Many times it also just means that there was caramel coloring or sweetener added to it, but you want to get the former, not the latter. So grab a good barrel aged rum, and honestly, kind of the higher proof, the better. This is 100 proof Denizen rum. And our zombie recipe calls for 4 ounces of rum, which is like the equivalent of 2 very full strength cocktails. For that reason, we do a limit 2 per guest when we serve them in house. If I was to have you over, which we should do sometime, and we were to make zombies, what I would probably do is, if I were to make like them by the pitcher, I would lengthen them with either, I mean, soda water would be delicious, but to be honest with you, coconut water is a really, really, really incredible way to lengthen a tiki drink, and keep us out of harm's way, basically, because to be honest with you, after 2 of these, it's pretty, they're pretty strong.
That's a great recommendation. Would you say they're like across the board for tiki drinks or rum drinks in particular?
There aren't too many spirits that don't work with coconut water. It's kind of one of those magical like life hacks. You see it in Japan as well as India being consumed with whiskey as like almost like a whiskey highball with just in India it would either be Indian malt whiskey or Scotch, and in Japan it would be Japanese whiskey or Scotch. But coconut water is kind of one of those chameleon ingredients that will go really well with kind of whatever. We like to shake our drinks really quickly, which I'm going to do here. So give me 1 second. So that was enough for us to get a little bit of aeration in the drink, which would be really hard to show you without spilling it. But you're just trying to wake the drink up and get it a little bit of levity. If I were making a pitcher of this, I would probably throw like 4 or 5 ice cubes in a blender and throw my whole batch in there and just get it aerated and then throw it in the pitcher. And you will find that like the acid and the bitterness don't sit on your tongue as heavy when it has those like little bubbles introduced. So you'll see I have a pretty perfect wash line there for me to add a little bit of extra crushed ice. We like to do the mountain of crushed ice at our bar because it just looks really pretty. We always add aromatic ingredients on top of our drinks because you taste with your eyes first and then your nose second. So for that, we have some really nice mint that we just got from Frank's down at the Pike Market. And then we have a little bit of spices. This is cinnamon and nutmeg, which is going to be kind of like aromatic for you. But this is our house zombie. It is an absolute screamer of a drink. I do not recommend them for anyone who is not trying to get to where they're trying to go.
You called it a face melter earlier. I love, that's a great
face melter, yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's like a liquid Metallica song.
Yeah, there you go. I love the coloring on this too, because it's, I mean, you read grenadine and you think it's going to be super artificial cherry red, but that's, you probably use like good grenadine.
You know what? Our grenadine recipe is super easy. We just make a syrup with a base of palm, the brand of pomegranate juice that you can get in pretty much any store. Just watch out for a lot of them are flavored, which isn't what you want, but we just do a rich syrup that we spice with a little bit of star anise and cinnamon, and it is our grenadine. I mean, I would put up against any grenadine I've ever had. It's really amazing, and again, it's super easy to work. You can, like, if I were to show you all of our recipes, I think you'd be shocked at how much we really appreciate making simple things, because it's easy to replicate, it's not complicated to explain, and it's really delicious.
It's one of the things that I think people don't realize how easy so many of the steps are to actually make at home. Something as simple as like herbal simple syrup or simple syrup. And it takes 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and it's cocktail ready after it cools down. And something like that can make such a authentic flavor to your drink, you know?
Sure.
At a bar, which we're starting to be able to go to, maybe sometime.
Yeah, I mean, there are pretty much hacks for like any classic syrup that you will see out there. For instance, like orgeat is a really common syrup, which is an almond syrup that hails from the French Caribbean. But orgeat, you could easily just buy some almond milk at the store and turn it into a simple syrup and use that as a substitute for orgeat, and it would work just fine. It's not going to be the best one you've ever had, but it'll do the job. So if anyone's ever looking at a syrup recipe and thinking I can't do that, feel free to shoot us a message and we'll give you a little hack for it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chris. This is great. I'm really excited to have this drink in real life again soon.
If you want to come by this weekend, I'll give you a little zombie kit.
Well, maybe I will. I was going to ask, but where's Navy Strength at as far as reopenings go?
So we're still just doing our cocktail kits. We do them Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. You can order them through NavyStrengthSeattle.com. We are going to be very, very, very gently reopening with a lot of like safety precautions in place for our guests, but really for our staff too. That'll probably happen towards the end of July. We kind of want to see how things go, and we just want to do it right. You know what I mean? It's not, the coronavirus isn't something that we're intent on playing around with, but you know, there's a lot of people in this neighborhood that really miss Navy Strength and our other bars, Rob Roy and No Anchor. So we are eager to get them open again when we can.
Well, when we can, or when I can, I will be there. And I still need to check out Vinny's.
Yeah.
Whenever you guys reopen that as well. But I mean, I want to say that Rob Roy was one of my first like real cocktail bars. And
a lot of people say that. My wife owned Rob Roy for 11 years now. Wow. And yeah, it's just kind of an industry staple, you know, like Anthony Bourdain filmed there. Like it's just been around forever. We have so many people that are regulars at our newer bars who met their spouse at Rob Roy or went on first date there. So I don't know. It's a special place.
You guys are like famous. So well, thank you so much, Chris. We're going to move on to our next cocktail, but I so appreciate you joining us. We're going to run the recipe that you provided for us on sipmagazine.com. And you can buy the pre-made cocktail for you because it's delicious and expertly crafted at Navy Strength Seattle. And yes, thank you. Cheers. See ya.
Cheers.
Bye. All right. I'm going to take a sip of my pre-batch cocktail I made. This was a feverishly thrown together, legitimately lemonade and mezcal that I topped with some triple sec. And going opposite of my shirt, to which Jen did comment saying, yes, Mas Tequila is right. And so Jen is with Eastside Distilling in Portland and their tequila brand, Azunia Tequila, which I have Jared in here from Azunia.
Hi.
Live from San Diego and very patriotic.
It's the 4th of July. You got to do it right.
It is. I love it. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's a perfect day to be able to talk about some fun pre-batch cocktails to gear up for the weekend. So it's going to be a fun one. But yeah, these batch cocktails, it's going to be some good stuff. I'm excited to see the rest, everybody else. Chris did a great job. It looked like a really nice zombie that he made, but it's going to be a fun weekend. That's for sure.
Yeah, it is. Well, let's start with the base. Let's talk about some tequila.
Cool. So today I'm going to be using Azuñia tequila. Azuñia, it's an estate crafted tequila, 100% organic tequila. And it's from Matitan. Matitan is found in the lowlands of the Tequila Valley. Tequila it's a really cool distilled spirit. It's an Appalachian spirit. There's about 5 regions that you can grow Weber Blue Agave to make tequila. And one of the most predominant and specific regions is in the Valley of Tequila in the state of Jalisco down in Mexico. And our town, that we're closest to, is Amatitan. And our farm is called Rancho Miravalle, and we're the exclusive export here in the United States with our 100% estate crafted organic Blue Weber agave. The process is fantastic. It's family owned and operated, passed down generation to generation. The agaveros, they know what they're doing. They know how to make a great product. And you taste it when you have a great cocktail that doesn't mask the spirit, and that's the reason that we chose an organic skinny margarita is because we want to exemplify the flavor profiles of those of the baseline spirits. So that's why we decided just to do a nice little organic skinny margarita with some fresh citrus, lime juice, and a little sweet component with agave. I've got some specs that are going to be popping up on the screen. Is that right, Erin? To make it larger. So I've got some containers here. So this is perfect for a 64 ounce. So you can follow those specs for the 64 ounce or a larger batch, real party bin. To where if you do have a large group showing up, you can make obviously a lot more. I kind of built this out for about a 3-gallon cocktail. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 2 cocktails. It's pretty much the same cocktail, but I'll just go ahead and get started with the Organica. And again, sweet, tart. With the sweet was the agave, and the tart is the lime juice, and a little bit of our a blanco. Okay, so we've got an ounce of our lime juice, and again, like I told you, I'm going to make 2.
Is the other one to transport to me?
Yeah, so I'm going to through the screen right to you.
Good.
It actually sounds pretty darn good. And then I've got our agave syrup, and it's 0.75 per cocktail, but I'm going to do 1.5 ounces because, again, I'm making 2 cocktails. And then 1.5 ounces of our organic tequila here. I'm using Blanco. It's going to really come out pretty vibrant in the cocktail, but you can also use Reposado, which is totally fine as well. So it's 1.5 ounces.
I'm a big fan of Reposado and margarita too. I think it just adds that extra element that really, I don't know, the depth, I guess.
For sure, yeah. The Repo really does stand out quite a bit. There's nothing wrong with that. I love a good Reposado in my cocktails, especially for any kind of tiki variations, which turn out great. It's just a little bit of a darker, more robust flavor profile that you're going to get from us. This is our biggest award winner, actually, our Reposado. This one won double gold at the San Francisco Spirits Competition. So that one won Best in Show, double gold. And this one's fantastic. This one works great. You can substitute this in for any other skinny organic margarita as well. Okay, so we have all of our ingredients in, real nice and simple, perfect for a little day at the barbecue. And I just have a simple salted rimmed cocktail glass here. And this is just a simple, clean, simple organic skinny margarita. Got some reusable metal straws here that you can use, okay? And the reason I wanted to make 2 is because you can add a little bit of any kind of fresh juice, right? So I freshly squeezed, or I pureed some watermelon juice. You have to double strain it. That's the most important part about when you're blending up a watermelon juice. So you double strain through a wire mesh, and then I just like to do about 2 ounces.
I love a watermelon margarita. That is delicious.
So technically, it's the same cocktail, but just with extra fresh juices. And you can do it with pineapple. You can do it with guava. You can do it with blood orange. And it's just great for, just a summertime cocktail. So it's technically the same cocktail, but just with just a little bit extra juice, right? So now, even float a little bit of a
beautiful
there, and then the organic, I just put a little lime wheel on there. But yeah, they're just perfect, simple, light, clean, low calories, easy to drink. It's perfect for the 4th of July batched weekend.
Yes, it is. I have a question, just a brain pick. Do you know the story behind the Margarita glass that's like a coupe but not?
Ooh, now you're getting me. I don't.
Sorry,
it's obviously a classic way to drink the margarita. You know, there's other great vessels that you can drink your margaritas in. You can drink them up in a martini glass. You can drink them in an old-fashioned, low ball cut style of a glass. Or you can drink them in a very traditional cup, like a jarrito. A classic cocktail that can go in these is like a Paloma variation called a cantarito. And it's very, very popular down in Amatitan, where tequila's from. And it's just a cool cup. It's, clay, and it's all glazed and authentically painted. It's just really cool. And it's a perfect way to be able to enjoy a margarita in as well.
That's gorgeous. And the people are asking, is this a home bar setup that you're at?
Yeah, this is my backyard. So I just kind of move some stuff around, but I like to have fun back here, fire up some meats on the Traeger and whip up some cocktails for some friends when they come over. But yeah, this is where we have all of our fun here.
That's great. Well, before we get off with you, let's talk about the extra bottles to your left, I think.
Yeah, so I put these bottles out here because these are our other expressions that we offer through Eastside Distilling. We've got Way Coffee Rum. So it's a rum-based spirit, and it's a coffee liqueur, which is an awesome cocktail to be able to make some dessert-style variations or even some really cool old-fashioned variations. And then I also have Burnside. I've got Burnside West End blend. I've got the Goose Hollow, as well as the rye. We have a Burnside rye and also Burnside bourbon. So what makes Burnside so special is the aging process of the bourbons and the whiskeys. We use Gariana oak, which is indigenous to the Pacific Northwest. It's really cool how we don't chop any trees down to make these casks. We wait for the trees to fall, and we take that wood and we make the casks, the Gariana oak casks, and we finish off our bourbons and whiskeys in those barrels. So you can definitely find those, like you mentioned, Erin, is Eastside Distilling's out of Portland, Oregon. But you can find this all over the Pacific Northwest, as well as Azuñia Tequila. Azuñia Tequila you can get in Oregon at your state stores, up in Seattle and Washington at Whole Foods. So you go on our website, azuñatequila.com or eastsidedistilling.com and see where you can pick up some bottles.
But really important question, where do we get your shirt?
Ooh, I found this at a thrift store. It's one of a kind.
It is.
It comes out 2 times a year, but yeah, it's. I think it might even be a girl's shirt that I somehow fit in.
Doesn't matter. It's fabulous. Nice work. All right, Jared, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Have a safe holiday weekend.
You too. All right, we are now moving on to, oh my gosh, and now I realize that you're here. I don't think we've ever even made sure I knew how to say your name. Christiana?
Yes, you got it right. You did it perfectly. Impressive. Not a lot of people can do that.
Well, Hoda would have done her back work, but I'm a print journalist pretending to be a social media influencer, so it's all new. It's all new. So you're here from Heritage Distilling, and you are showing us a super easy cocktail with the very famous BSB, which I feel like everyone who's ever been to a Mariners game knows this product.
Can't spell baseball without BSB. It's true, but there's no baseball this year. I mean, at least not yet.
Yeah.
We're missing out, but BSB is still there.
Yeah, in the meantime, we can drink our Mariners approved BSB at home in this cocktail you made for us.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a super, super easy cocktail. It's equal parts pineapple juice, lemonade, and BSB brown sugar bourbon. And this bad boy was voted world's best flavored whiskey 2 years in a row by Whiskey Magazine. So we are very proud of this guy. And so I'm just going to do a little 6-ounce cup, really, really easy. Again, seriously, you can totally just do it in a pitcher like how it says right below. Again, it's just all equal parts. So you can make it super small, or you can make it big in a pitcher and just sip it all week long. Just, again, really easy. Cool. So I'm just going to start. We're going to do 2 ounces of pineapple juice. I got a shaker of ice. You don't have to shake it if you feel like not being as fancy, but you know, I kind of feel like being fancy, so might as well. And then we have lemonade.
I love your shot glass.
It's the only one I could actually find in the cupboard, but I figured it's very fitting and tropical.
It's beautiful.
Right? I think it's my roommate's. And then we got our BSB. And even though equal parts of BSB kind of sounds like a lot, especially if you're thinking about it in a pitcher size, which would obviously be a lot, it's only 60 proof and it's a flavored whiskey. And so it's not going to be too strong. Of course, you can make it a bit stronger. You also could use our BSB brown sugar bourbon, our 103 proof. So definitely a lot stronger. Careful of that. But also it is the weekend. It's 4th of July party. We're just going to shake this guy. And I'm just going to use, let's see. Hold on, guys. Got it. Needed a stronger table. Not going to use fresh ice because, again, it's the weekend. It's 4th of July. You're busy. Super easy. So good. Also, what we love to do with our pineapple upside down cake, you take the top of your pineapple, just take a leaf off. And also, you know that your pineapple is ripe. Fun fact for you, you know your pineapple is ripe when it can come out easily. Beautiful. So good.
I love the minimal ingredients for this. Right? This is, and they're all easy, basic grocery store ingredients too.
Yeah, completely easy. We always show this one whenever we're at events just because it's so easy for us to mix, but also it highlights our BSBs so well. If you don't have BSB, you could do it with regular bourbon and just use like a brown sugar simple syrup. It will not be as good, I promise, but it still works and it's pretty tasty.
Can you tell us a little bit more about BSB as a product?
Yeah, so recently, actually last year, it got national distribution. So we've been making this bad boy for about, I think, 5 years or so. It's available in all of our tasting rooms. Also, we're located in Gig Harbor, but we have tasting rooms in Seattle, Roslyn, Gig Harbor, and also Eugene, Oregon, as well as a full-scale distillery down there. But yeah, this is like really our pride and joy. And yeah, it's a flavored whiskey, brown sugar and cinnamon natural flavoring in there. And it's so easy to drink. A lot of people who are like kind of scared of whiskey, like this is where they start. At least this is where we kind of convert them because it's just so easy. It's so smooth and it mixes well with anything, but also it's really good on ice. And so we have a lot of fun just mixing it with all types of different cocktails. And it's fun to see what people come up with.
So how many total locations do you guys have now? You rattle them off, but it's going to be seven or eight?
We have 6 at the moment. 2 of them are closed. So we have our Ballard, our Capitol Hill. Capitol Hill is currently closed. We have Roslyn. We have our waterfront location in Gig Harbor, as well as our flagship in Gig Harbor. So 2 of them pretty close to each other. And then we have our Eugene, Oregon location. And also just this past weekend, we opened up a tasting room / restaurant / everything amazing in Chehalis, in partnership with the Chehalis tribe, and it was actually the first tribally owned distillery on tribal land ever in history. So it was really, really huge, and it's awesome this weekend. So that's down in Chehalis, and so definitely everybody come check it out. It's really, really cool.
That's amazing. I had no idea. Your PR gal's on maternity leave. That's why I didn't know.
That's why. No, yeah, it was amazing because actually there was a law still enacted from the Andrew Jackson era, and we really helped just to terminate that and really kind of open that up and the opportunity for the Chehalis tribe and other tribes in the future.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Very cool. And so that just opened this last weekend? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so on Tuesday we had the grand opening. And it's a tasting room, but also there's like a full scale like restaurant, and also it's called Talking Cedar. Yes, Ballard location is a good one. Love Ballard, it's so cute. And then yeah, it's a restaurant, and they have a Talking Cedar brewery, so it's really a joint partnership with the Talking Cedar Chehalis Brewing as well as Heritage Distilling Company.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm glad you guys are involved in that and pushing that forward too. So
it's fantastic. It's a great opportunity to be a part of.
Yeah, very cool. What else is going on with Heritage? Anything else we should know about?
If you haven't already heard, guys, We got hand sanitizer, a whole bunch of it. We've been so busy, and it's been a huge blessing that we've been able to create hand sanitizer and just have the opportunity and the equipment and the products to be able to blend it and mix it and bottle it. So we've been cranking out hand sanitizer since March, and it's been huge for us because also it's been, it helped us become an essential business during COVID time. And so we've been able to stay open, not with drink service, but with bottle sales and also, of course, hand sanitizer. And we've been able to sell a bunch of it, but also to donate so much of it as well. I think at least we've made over 150,000 gallons of it so far, which is wild, but it's awesome.
That's great. Well, we applaud you guys. You guys were one of the first to jump on and start making hand sanitizer in the Pacific Northwest. And with all of your locations, you have distribution locked in for it. So you're able to help out so many people around here. So thank you for doing that. And thank you for being here with us today. And we're excited to drink this later this weekend. And hope you are able to kick back and relax too.
Thanks. Have a great weekend, Erin.
Thanks. All right, and now for our fourth, I don't know, I've been drinking. How many cocktails have we done? For our fourth cocktail, we have Eric Soren. He's a mixologist for Tommy Bahama Spirits, which, did you know that Tommy Bahama makes spirits? Yes, he does. And this is Eric joining us right now.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you all right. I'm going to have you kick off with just talking to us about Cay Distilling and Tommy Bahama Spirits and the connection and local Seattle area businesses coming together to make booze happen.
Exactly. So Cay Distilling is a rather new brand. We have been making spirits since 2012 when we all switched over. We're another sub-brand. We have a ton of fantastic products. What we're using today is actually the cucumber vodka. We are one of a handful of distillers worldwide that make this on our website. So we don't actually use heat in the process. We use a vacuum distillation. That's just one of the methods we use to make spirits here. So of the 7 profiles that we do, cucumber is one. We have a straight vodka we distill 8 times. The last week finished. We also make a rum. It's called our Tommy No. 2. That's an 8-year aged rum that we finish in bourbon barrels, just to add a little spice. We also do a rye rum, which just received a small accolade in Whiskey Advocate magazine. It's a rye blend that we taper off the end with a tiny bit of rum to just really kick back on that dry, spicy note that rye typically has. Let's see. We also make an island gin, the focus being on botanicals used in that gin, all cold distilled and put together by weight, instead of traditionally thrown into the mash. So let's see, that one also just won a gold medal from the 50 Best. I believe you can find that link on our website, localdistilling.com. Let's see, so mango vodka, which happens to be my wife's personal favorite. We do have a bottle over here. It's a little sweet. It has a hint of coconut at the very back end. Let's see. And then we also launched an inaugural bourbon. So it's a blend of 4- and 7-year whiskeys that we have been sitting on since inception, and we put them together, and now we get the availability to find them in your stores, and sooner rather than later, hopefully, taste them at your Tommy Bahama restaurants. We wrapped all 7 there. So moving into the cocktail, if that's okay, Erin.
Yeah, move on.
Yeah. So you notice this green goo we have. This is actually the cucumber vodka being run. One of our associates here will eventually take this from me today and put it through our cold stills. So this is a mash bill that we have developed over the years. And it takes about an hour and a half to turn from goo to 191 cucumber vodka. All right, and that was following along prompts from before. This is our cucumber vodka after we let it sit in the watermelon we've tapped for 24 hours. So we've got a little infusion there. So it does pick up some of the electrolytes and vitamins from the watermelon, as well as add that subtle taste. So we put the cocktail together. We'll do it as one. You're gonna need about 1.5 ounces of the watermelon infused cucumber vodka. The full recipe calls for a quarter cup of the basil simple syrup. And all this is 1-to-1 parts sugar, water. So fresh basil, we're going to boil that to reduce it and then just let it cool before you use it. In this recipe, we're only going to be using a quarter ounce. You don't want it too sweet. Next up, you need your fresh lime juice. I believe the batch cocktail recipe calls for a half cup. So this adds the tartness there.
I love your mixing glass too. It's beautiful, nice and etched.
Thank you. Yeah. Let's see. And really, that's it. I mean, how simple is that? Add your ice to cool. Give it a nice little stir. You're going to always ice your glass down first. Don't do it afterwards.
Now, what kind of branch is on the bar top?
This is a palm leaf.
Ah.
Like the Villa France, which is the very signature Italian Bahama print that we actually have in all the boxes. So you'll see those in stores. So from here, to make it light and stretch your cocktail so you're not spending all your money on booze, we have soda water. And you're just going to fill that to the top. Garnish with your fresh basil. A lot of people like to clap it like they're mint, just to activate some of those oils. Give it a little stir. And serve.
That looks incredibly refreshing just from the leaf sitting in it alone from the basil.
Then get a sample. How about that?
So could you give us a little insight into how you made that watermelon keg?
Yeah, of course. This is it's about as simple as it gets. So it's kind of like Tom Hanks Wilson volleyball, right? You gotta be really careful with it at first, and then you really just cut it apart. So you remove the top, just cut a straight line across, and you're gonna core out the interior. You're gonna really probably want to use a lot of those watermelons for serving. So either use a melon bowler, so you can use it in a side dish, or I guess just go full Edward Scissorhands and just cut it open. We always core the top, so we can put the bottom upside down. So it's a nice prop to have far back. And then once you let it sit overnight, drain the liquid, so you have an easier base to mix with, and use like a larger vessel. Like we like to use the smaller pitchers to ensure consistency. You mix that with your ingredients, and then you can feel free to pour it back in. I suggest that you tap it first to test your seal with a little bit of water, and then pour your ingredients in, and then serve right from here. Nice.
Yeah. That's so fun. What a nice little, an affordable and easy way to kind of upscale your large batch presentation.
Yeah, we just totally Martha Stewarted that, right?
Yeah, nothing against plastic pitchers. Those are great and reasonable, but this is also pretty cool.
Like the traditional, this is, what's more 4th of July than watermelon, right? Watermelon, and now we're being able to use it in 2 applications.
Yeah. Well, Eric, thank you so much. I really appreciate you joining us. Your tasting room looks fantastic. Can we come visit you? What's your current situation like? COVID rules?
We are like a modified. We are in Chelan County, so we are in phase 1.5. The restaurants and bars out here, as long as they apply to all phase 2 guidelines, we can be open, and we will be open. So you can come visit us. We are located in Leavenworth right now. Our production facility is in Cashmere. Currently, the production facility is not accepting visitors due to COVID, but we definitely have tastings available, as well as we're launching this weekend with some barbecue.
Awesome. Well, that sounds fantastic, and we'll be out, and hopefully everyone will be out to see you soon. In the meantime, we can get your spirits where?
So we are excited to announce that we have just gone national with Italian Bahama Spirits. Coral Key has through Cask Cartel. Cask Cartel is an online ordering platform. I believe they service 46 states. So you can order any one of the time hot spirits through Cask Cartel and can be delivered to your doorstep. As well as in Washington State, every Total Wine has every product available. The only one that is a very limited product is the limited edition bourbon. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I have a bottle of the cucumber vodka, and I have a fruit stand up the street where I can get some watermelon. So I have big plans this weekend. But well, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great holiday, and we hope to see you soon.
You too. Cheers.
Bye. Thank you, everybody, for being on here with us today and watching and following along with these recipes. We'll have them on our website at sipmagazine.com. I have a lot of drinking to do this weekend with these recipes, I think, and I'll keep you posted on what I think is the most delicious. But I have a feeling I'm going to like all of them. So thank you so much for being here. Happy 4th of July. Happy almost weekend. And yay, summer. We'll see you soon.